always scams my rich friend and adopt me, and how it went completely wrong. So from what I thought, she would scam people every single day for the pets that she had. And I only thought that because I saw her do it a couple times. And when I tell you this girl was rich, I mean she was rich. So one day, I was at her house, and we were just playing Adopt Me, and when she went to go up to the bathroom, I took her iPad, and I traded myself, and I traded all her pets to my account. And by the way, I had traded all the pets to an alt account so that she wouldn't see them in my inventory. So soon enough, she came back from the bathroom, and she had a meltdown. And she knew that it wasn't me because she knows that I wouldn't do something like that, and she saw my inventory. So then she goes running to her dad sobbing, telling him about it. And remind you, they are a really wealthy family. And then I was confused because he started screaming at her over these virtual pets. And then he said
One time when I was in 8th grade, I got a hickey on my neck because I had daddy issues, and my teacher noticed and sent me to the principal's office. And the principal was like, "I'm calling your mom." And I was like, "I burned my neck with a curling iron on accident." And she was like, "No, you didn't." So on the bus ride home, luckily my best friend and I shared the same bus stop, and I asked her if I could go to her house really quick to burn my neck with her curling iron, and she said yes. So when I walked into the house, my mom was literally ready to look, it's just a curling iron burn. And she was like, "Wait, yeah, that's clearly just a curling iron burn." And she got so mad, and she called the principal, and she demanded that she apologize to me. And the principal had to apologize to me, and to this day, my mom still doesn't know.
So y'all, the way I live in England, so we don't have school shootings or guns. It was a normal day in school. Then suddenly my head teacher ran into my classroom and told my teacher to get us all into the cupboard. We were really confused, but our teacher told us what was wrong. So basically this man had escaped from prison and had kids in our school, and he was in our playground with a knife and an illegal gun. We looked out onto our car park, and there was this girl around 20 with a knife, and when she saw us, she waved at us in a really creepy way. We were allowed to get out of the cupboard, but our teacher locked our classroom door and put the blinds down. Then one girl, let's call her Madison, got bored, so she took the classroom key of my teacher's desk and left the room. Bearing in mind at this point we were sure the man and woman were in our freaking school. Our teacher shouted at her and locked us in our classroom. As she went after her, she returned, looking very worried but also relieved at the same time. She said that the man and woman had left, but the reason she was worried was because this Madison girl was nowhere to be found. The police turned up and we found Madison with gunshots in her arm, crying in the corner of our lunch hall. She suffered serious injuries and was close to death. She is in hospital to this day.
Story of how I almost got killed. So my boyfriend, well, let's call him Bob, only loved me BC. I got him nice things. Bob could drive and was in his 20s. Then one day I stopped getting him nice things to see what he would do. And one day he asked me to get him these new shoes. I said no. Bob said, "I will come for you if you don't." I said okay. So then a few days later there was a knock on my door. I went to answer it and no one was there. So I went back to my room. I smelled smoke, so I yelled, "Mom, I think dinner is burning." No answer. I went outside my door and he was there. There were flames in my kitchen. I ran outside and never saw him again. I also called my mom and she called the police, but they never found him. So at the time, me and my bestie weren't on good terms because she had a crush on my boyfriend, and about 6 months has passed and my bestie and my boyfriend are suddenly acting weird around me, and so of course I investigated and found that my boyfriend was cheating on me with my bestie, so I confronted them and texted them to meet outside the school at 3:10, which was after school. So when they arrived, there's a whole group around us because I told everyone what was happening anyway. When they get there, I told them that I know they were secretly a couple of something like that, and I showed them the screenshots of them texting from both of their phones, and of course they got mad, but I didn't really care because by the time they came to apologize, I had a new bestie and a new boyfriend, and they got even more mad, so they made a plan to kill me, but I thought they were just gossiping, and about a month has passed and I'm in my bed chilling with my boyfriend and my bestie. We suddenly just hear a door bust open, but because we thought it was nothing, we just didn't do anything, but we hear some loud footsteps coming up the stairs. We hid in my closet hoping it wasn't a robber, but 20 minutes had passed and we go back onto the bed, but then my door opens and my ex-boyfriend and my ex-bestie walk in with knives from my kitchen, but luckily I called the police when we were in the closet, so by the time they finished saying how I would pay for giving us up, I said, "You guys are the people that made you give you guys up, so how about you leave my house?" But before those two could talk, the police came crashing in and they're still in prison to this day, and I'm actually not so sad they're in prison.
When I was like a little younger, I was working at my local Forever 21 for work experience, and this little kid came in. It looked like she just came from school cause she had a uniform on and a little name tag. Yeah, no, those sticker ones that come off after like 5 minutes, and said, "Hello, my name is on it." And on the name tag wrote Lydia or Liddy or something like that, and she seemed really just out of breath. She was sweating, heavily breathing. Yeah, no, like if you ran really far. She asked if she could hide somewhere, and I said, yeah, in the dressing rooms. FYI, I didn't work by the dressing rooms, I just lead her there. I saw a minivan pull up right in front of the store. After the kid had hid in the dressing room, I went back up front because I was called or something like that, and that was why I could see the minivan and a man in a camo jacket, black sweatpants, and a Buccaneers hat or whatever. Asked if a little kid ran in here. Description fit exactly like the kid in the dressing room. I said, "Sir, do you know her?" And this dude said, "Oh yeah, I'm her uncle. I'm supposed to drive her home." I asked him to just wait there by the register and went back to ask the little girl if anyone was picking her up. She said, "No. I normally walk home every day, and this man pulled up telling me that he was my uncle and was gonna pick me up, but my dad doesn't have any siblings, and my mom lives on the other side of the country, and she only had a sister." I asked if she had a school ID cause I was dumb and thought it would help. She pulled it out and I looked at it and then went back to the dude. I asked him for his ID. And he pulled it out, and he looked nothing like the picture. The man in the picture was black, had no beard or hair, and the man was white and had a beard and hair. He asked me again if he'd seen the little girl. Of course I said no. He then left, and like 17 minutes later the cops showed up looking for the man. Apparently the man was a prisoner who escaped or something, and the girl's dad was the cop who put him in jail, so he wanted revenge or whatever. The girl went back to her family. And I never worked at a Forever 21 ever again.
And I was at school, and it was a normal day until the principal went on the speaker and said, "We're in lockdown, go in your closets." So we went ahead and went in the closets. We were all confused. Some people were scared. Everyone was like kind of asking the teacher what was going on and stuff. Now during this time, I wasn't asking anything or saying anything because I knew during a lockdown you don't want to say anything. So if there is someone in the school, they won't find where you are. But I was still listening to them because I was curious like everyone else. So while everyone was asking the questions, one girl stood up and said, "If you're not going to say what's going on, I'm going to get out of the closet." The teacher yelled at her and told her no. And the teacher yelled loud, so whoever was in the school obviously heard. So the door opened and everyone became silent.
Let me tell y'all how I ruined my uncle's engagement proposal while I take off my makeup. So basically, my uncle threw a little get-together, invited my family, obviously. At that get-together, he was planning on proposing to his soon-to-be fiancé. He brought out a really big cake, and that cake had whipped cream on it. Okay, best believe I dived in. Listen, I'm not a big fan of icing, but I might do a backflip for some whipped cream. Everyone got a slice of cake, and it was gone. The plate was completely empty. My uncle starts panicking and looking around. Everyone starts eyeing him because he's acting really weird. Mind you, nobody knew that he was going to propose to his girlfriend. My family ended up having to leave early because of my little sister's ballet ceremony. Eventually, my dad gets a call from my uncle basically saying that he was planning the proposal and the ring is nowhere to be found. Now, where did he put the ring, you may ask? It was in the center of the cake, and it was supposed to be a big reveal once everybody took their piece. My parents come to me and ask me if I've seen it anywhere. I told them that I had no idea. And all of a sudden, ooh, I gotta take a Back to the bathroom, I was blowing up the toilet, okay? I felt something real rough pop out my booty hole. I turn around to look, because it hurt, and I see a ring in the toilet bowl floating amidst my diarrhea. Part 2 of how I ruined my uncle's engagement proposal while I take off my makeup. So like I said, after I ate the cake at the engagement party for my uncle's proposal, I got really bad diarrhea. When I go to the bathroom, I out the ring. So a lot was going through my mind at this moment. I didn't know if I was supposed to grab it, do I reach into my diarrhea and take it out? Do I rinse it and then give it back? Or do I just flush and act like I didn't see shit? I would really want a ring that was sitting in somebody's diarrhea. Even if I rinsed it, even if I washed it with soap, it still had the diarrhea particles on it. There's all different types of creases in rings. So best believe I flushed that. Act like that whole thing did not just happen. But things took a turn for the worse once my uncle said that he paid $10,000 for that ring. I felt extremely guilty. I'd rather feel guilty than admit to anybody what happened. To this day, nobody in my family knows what happened to that ring. I will live with this secret until the day that I die.
1 bedroom in the basement and 2 bedrooms upstairs. Because I was the oldest, I got put in the bedroom in the basement. Right when we moved in, I already had creepy feelings about the house. I hated being downstairs by myself. One day I dropped a $20 bill behind my dresser. I decided to move my dresser all by myself, and behind the dresser was this door. It wasn't a normal door, it was really short and just squared. It was also glued off, so I couldn't get into it. Me and my neighbor, who were best friends, worked at it for days to get into it. We finally got it open, and inside was another room. It was almost like an underground attic. The walls were wooden, the ceiling was wooden, there was no carpet, but it smelled awful. My parents found out and they were super mad at me for opening the room. They of course put that dresser in front of that door for a reason because they knew I would explore it. But after that, things started to get weird. Stay tuned for part 2.
Story of the time I threw up on a ride while riding it. So every year in the town that I grew up, there was a county fair. And there was a ride in particular called the Zipper. And it was probably the most popular ride there. So basically the ride is a big giant circle. It kind of looks like a Ferris wheel, except you and another person that sits in a cage, the cage spins around while the thing